Hello folks, this is Brandon Bailey here, and I thought I'd redo the last video that I was doing on Harpboxing with the intro to Hellhound. A lot of people were having problems with the volume, so this video should be much better in that respect. I'll start very similarly to how I did last time. This is a song that I perform a lot, and it's one of my favorite songs. It's a cover of Son of Dave's Hellhound. And the introduction to Hellhound involves a lot of the beatboxing slash harpboxing material that I usually do. So this video is an introduction or primer to the skills of harpboxing. For this lesson, I will be using an A harmonica. This particular one is a customized Honer Marine Band by Harrison Harmonicas. So to begin, I'll play the intro. Here she comes. Like a hellhound. So that's basically how the intro goes. So I'm doing quite a few things, and within that there are three basic beatboxing movements that I'm using. The first of which is the basic P kick drum sound, the very puffy kind of heavy bass kick drum, which is one of the most important yet simple moves in beatboxing. So what you're going to do for that is simply tighten your lips and force air to pass through your lips. It's basically just an amplified puff. So you want to close your lips really tightly and really force air out using your diaphragm, remembering always to use your diaphragm in basically any harpboxing or beatboxing technique. You should always be able to feel some kind of pressure or intensity or tenseness in your stomach muscles. So that's the basic sound. So combining that with the harmonica, very simple. Just put the harmonica up to your mouth and don't actually touch it to your lips, but blow air while you're puffing through the harmonica reeds, like so. Very simple movement, which is the very first note of Hellhound. So I have the harmonica maybe a quarter of an inch away from my mouth. The more responsive your harmonica, of course, the more effective this technique is. So, following the kick drum sound, I'm moving into... So I'm doing two different things with my tongue there. I'm doing a snare sound and a... I got that completely backwards. I'm doing a hi-hat sound into a snare sound. So in order to do the hi-hat sound, I'm simply pressing the tip of my tongue up against the roof of my mouth and allowing air to pass through it. Kind of like a snake sound, but it's much shorter. Or alternately, you can either have your tongue at the very roof of your mouth right behind your teeth, or even touching your teeth works equally as well. Or a combination of the two. Somewhere in between touching your teeth and touching the roof of your mouth behind your teeth. So, that's the hi-hat sound. And the kick sound, or the snare sound, is pretty simple, just raising the back of my tongue to the roof of my mouth and allowing air to pass through it. Kind of like also you can practice by doing a hissing sound, but making it much shorter. You can almost think of this as the opposite of bending, where with bending you usually raise your tongue to the back part of your tongue to the roof of your mouth, sort of, and breathing in, you're doing the same thing breathing out. So, those are the very first three basic moves of beatboxing, and the three basic moves that you need to play the intro to Hellhound. So, leading from the kick drum sound into the hi-hat sound into the snare sound, the alternate to that is actually playing an octave, the 1/4 octave following the kick drum sound, which would be much easier and simpler. So following the 1/4 octave, you're going to want to draw in on the bent 3 draw, or the blue third, or in this case, a slightly flattened version of the blue third. And generally I add vibrato to that slightly bent 3-hole draw, or you can do it just a flat note. And you repeat that directly following the bent 3 draw. You're going back into the kick drum sound and back into the snare sound. So, following that, after you're doing the snare sound twice, you repeat the exactly same thing with the kick drum. But rather than ending on the blue third, you're ending on a 1-2-3 or 1-2-3 in breath chord, and you're going wada dada as you're breathing in. So you're really wanting to get the harmonica into your mouth and really open up and drop your jaw and allow as much tone to come through the reeds as possible. So a really wide, deep breath going wada dada, breathing in. Always really drop your jaw. And that's pretty much most of the intro to Hellhound. Then repeating the first part again with the kick drum, the hi-hat, and the snare. Here she comes. So that's basically the entire intro. You repeat that along with the vocal lines. So doing it slightly faster would sound like... Or using that 1/4 octave inversion that I was showing. Here she comes. And as you're progressing, you'll of course build up speed to the point where you can play it something like this. Here she comes. Like a hellhound. So what I was doing there actually was mixing up doing the hi-hat and the snare sound along with doing the 1/4 octave. You can always change things up. So that's pretty much it. One really important thing to remember is with doing heartboxing and beatboxing, you're using a lot of out breaths. And most of these out breaths should be coming from your diaphragm. So always remember to practice slowly at first, because you will become out of breath and it's very possible to become lightheaded. So you really want to take your time with things, build up speed, and this will really help tighten your stomach muscles a lot. So in effect, beatboxing can be a very good workout. So that's lesson 1 on Hellhound, and I'll be back again very soon with another lesson probably on what I do with Heartboxing on my new album, Memphis Grooves. See you then.